The movie opens in a similar tone to the first part, but this time the scene feels darker and heavier. We see Hutch, sitting once again inside an interrogation room. His face looks tired and beaten, fresh wounds mark his skin, but his expression is calmer than before. Unlike last time when he sat quietly smoking a cigarette, now Hutch takes out a lighter, flicks the flame, and presses it against one of his fresh cuts, cauterizing his wound without even flinching. The smell of burned skin spreads faintly in the air. Across the table, an officer stares at him in disbelief. The officer finally breaks the silence and asks the same burning question. "Who are you really?" Hutch gives a faint smile, his voice carrying both exhaustion and pride, and replies, "I'm nobody." But this time he is not alone. Sitting silently in the background is another figure who had been with him during this journey. A reminder that this story is bigger than just Hutch. The scene then shifts into a flashback, pulling us a few days back in time. Hutch is shown at his home, trying to balance his dangerous secret life with the normal appearance of family life. Unlike before, his household feels heavier and more complicated. His children spend most of their time at home with Becca, while Hutch leaves early in the morning and comes back late at night. His work is no longer about accounting or pretending to live a boring suburban life. Hutch has returned fully to his violent past, spending his days as a hitman again, carrying out brutal jobs for money. Every night he comes back late, tired and bloodstained, while Becca is left managing the kids and the household alone. The emotional distance between them grows heavier. One night, Hutch is in the middle of a brutal fight, beating down several thugs with the same merciless efficiency he once buried deep inside. In the middle of this bloody chaos, he receives a text message from Becca. "Come home early tonight." Hutch replies coldly that he will be late again. Reading this, Becca feels a painful distance, deciding that they will need to talk soon. Hutch, reading her silence, realizes the same thing, but he does not know how to explain. Instead of words, Becca simply replies with a short message, "I love you." That tiny text pierces through Hutch's hardened exterior, softening his heart for a moment. He pauses, standing in the middle of a blood-stained alley, looking at the message with a heavy sigh. The next morning, things seem normal on the surface. The kids prepare for school, and Hutch tries to help around the house, attempting to show he is still part of the family. He offers Becca help with chores, but she coldly tells him, "If you're free, we need to talk." However, she quickly leaves for work, leaving the conversation hanging in the air. Hutch then walks outside, handing trash to the garbage truck, while his kids leave the house without saying much. The emotional gap inside the family continues to widen. Later, Becca mentions that summer break is ending soon. Hutch promises that he has been planning something for the family, even talking to his boss about getting time off. But this only makes Becca angrier, because she knows his boss never gives him real breaks. She storms off, disappointed, while Hutch remains troubled. He is a man torn between two worlds: the violent job he cannot escape and the family he is slowly losing. That afternoon, Hutch sits in a hotel lobby restless. Nearby, a group of thugs enter an elevator. Without hesitation, Hutch follows them inside. Later that evening, Hutch meets his boss, Barber, the leader of a secret association. Barber, curious about Hutch's day, asks casually, "So how many did you kill today?" Hutch replies with cold honesty, "I was busy all day. I ran into some dangerous guys earlier." The movie then dives into a flashback of what happened inside that hotel. Inside the elevator, Hutch confronted the gang. "You guys here for a meeting?" he asked calmly. The thugs mocked him, cursed, and pulled out guns. Hutch's eyes darkened with fury. In an instant, he disarmed them, using his skill and brutal force to attack. These thugs were young, strong, and reckless, forcing Hutch to fight harder than usual. The fight was messy, brutal, and exhausting. But in the end, Hutch slaughtered them all, taking an important card from one of the corpses, the very reason he followed them. The battle did not end there. In the hotel kitchen, more armed men ambushed him. Hutch used everything around him as a weapon. At one point, he hurled a gas cylinder across the room, shooting it mid-air to create an explosion that incinerated his enemies. Escaping into the parking garage, Hutch was ambushed again. Surrounded, he removed his belt, swinging it with deadly precision, beating down his attackers like they were nothing but dogs. By the time a car pulled up for his escape, Hutch was still furiously smashing anyone who dared to approach. Back in the present, Barber counts the payment. "So you killed a lot today," he says. "That's $8,000 for the job, but you still owe us $7.1 million. Money we had to pay to the Russians, because of your little stunt trying to play hero with their money. Hutch silently accepts this. He knows the debt is huge, but he nods. I'll keep working, he says, but I need a break. Barber studies him for a long moment, then finally agrees. Hutch is given a temporary break from killing. During this break, Hutch remembers something. A while ago, during one of his fights, he beat down a killer and noticed a poster for a place called Plummer Wild Resort. The memory strikes him deeply. It is the same resort where, as a child, Hutch once went with his father David and his brother Harry. Nostalgia floods in, and Hutch gets an idea. That night, Hutch comes home and shows his family a promotional video of the resort, filled with water parks, thrilling rides, and relaxing scenery. His face lights up like a child, excited by the thought of visiting again. Surprisingly, the family likes the idea. Hutch suggests that they go together and even invites his father David. Everyone eventually agrees. The next day, Hutch picks up David, who is still as lively and flirty as ever, with elderly women still swooning over him. Jokingly, Hutch tells his dad in front of the family to quit smoking so much in your old age, making everyone laugh. With happiness, the family sets off together for the resort. Upon arrival, Hutch shows everyone their rooms. Becca is delighted by the place, charmed by its calm and beautiful setting. That night, the two of them share a quiet romantic moment in their room, rediscovering each other after such a long time. Just as things get tender, their daughter Sammy bursts into the room, saying she wants to go to the water park. Laughing, the entire family gets ready to go. But when they arrive, disappointment awaits. A girl at the entrance tells them the water park is closed for the day due to some technical issue and will reopen tomorrow. David, irritated, storms off angrily, while Hutch decides to take the family to dinner instead. At the restaurant, Hutch watches children playing nearby, triggering memories of his childhood at the resort with his father and brother Harry. Meanwhile, a man named Abel, who appears to be a local sheriff, notices Hutch and approaches him. "You look strange," Abel says. "Are you here to cause trouble?" Hutch answers calmly, "Not yet." Abel smirks and warns him, "Don't start any either." Hutch ignores him and rejoins his family, enjoying dinner with them. Afterward, the family heads to the gaming arcade. Brad, Hutch's teenage son, seems distracted and upset, wishing he could spend time with his girlfriend instead. Nevertheless, he plays a game, wins, and earns a pile of tickets. When some girls notice him, Brad shows off by giving them all his tickets. Proud, he walks away with Sammy to play other games. But trouble soon finds them. A young man named Max confronts Brad, accusing him of trying to impress his girlfriends. Max demands an apology. Brad refuses. Enraged, Max breaks Sammy's toy, provoking Brad into a fistfight. The fight escalates until the manager arrives, breaking them apart and throwing Brad out. As the family prepares to leave, Max throws a ball toward Brad, but Hutch catches it midair with lightning reflexes. This shocks everyone. The manager angrily orders them all to leave, and Becca agrees, trying to calm things down. But just as they head out, the manager slaps Sammy hard across the head. In that moment, Hutch's rage explodes. Outside, his fury still boils. He tells Becca he left his phone inside and goes back. But Hutch isn't going back for his phone, he's going back for blood. Inside, he finds the manager and beats him brutally, leaving him broken and gasping. Other thugs rush in, but Hutch destroys them all with unrelenting violence. Finally, he drags the manager up again and continues beating him until his rage is satisfied. Soon, the police arrive and arrest Hutch. At the station, officers argue about whether to send him straight to jail. In a quiet moment, Hutch apologizes to Brad for causing trouble, but Brad surprises him by saying, "Dad, what you did was actually pretty cool. You don't need to say sorry." Hutch sighs and tells his son that violence is never the answer, that anger must always be controlled. Just then, Abel reappears, glaring at Hutch with cold hostility. He takes Hutch to meet Sheriff John, the mayor of the town. John looks at Hutch with a mix of recognition and authority. "I know who you are," John says. "Your son picked a fight with mine." Hutch calmly explains, "Max started it." But John dismisses the excuse. "That doesn't matter. What matters is that I own this town. Your son has anger issues, and maybe you do too. Are you just like him?" Hutch replies quietly, "No, I'm not angry, but your manager hit my daughter. That's why I had to respond." John studies him, then says coldly, "Take your family and leave. Now." Hutch agrees and walks out of the station with his family. But Abel is far from done. Furious, He orders his men to gather some young toughs and teach the old man a lesson. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, Becca scolds Hutch. "On the very first day, you've already started a fight," she says bitterly. "This is why I never want to go on vacation with nobody. Everywhere we go, people keep watching us." Hutch apologizes, promising her that he won't fight again. Becca, not convinced, checks his bag, expecting to find guns. But instead of weapons, she finds a bottle of Hutch's favorite wine. For a moment, she smiles, touched by his small gesture. They sit together, remembering their old days, realizing that their life together will always carry danger. The next day, the family returns to the fair. Becca tries her hand at shooting games, hitting targets with surprising accuracy. Meanwhile, David rents a small cottage in the nearby woods, setting up a private spot for the family. Hutch spends the day enjoying simple games with his kids, smiling more than he has in years. But Hutch notices shadows. Strange men are watching him from a distance. Suspicious, Hutch quickly buys boating tickets and places his family on one boat, claiming he has a stomach ache and will stay back. When the thugs approach, Hutch boards another boat with them. The boat heads out into the lake, full of ordinary passengers unaware of the danger. Hutch looks at the thugs and asks calmly, "What do you want?" One of them replies, "We told you to leave town. You didn't listen." Hutch shakes his head. "I'm just here with my family, trying to enjoy vacation." That's when they attack. The fight is vicious. One thug bites off Hutch's finger, and the severed finger falls into the water, immediately swallowed by a fish. Furious, Hutch goes berserk. The men push him into the water, but Hutch resurfaces like a predator, dragging them down one by one and finishing them off brutally. The boat rocks with chaos, passengers screaming, but Hutch's rage makes him unstoppable. By the time it's over, the thugs are broken, and Hutch swims back, bloodied but alive. Later, Hutch calls his brother Harry, who is away on a world tour. Hutch shares that he brought the family to the Plummer Wild Resort. "Seeing the kids here reminded me of us," he says. Harry chuckles, recalling, "Yeah, Dad brought us there for a mission once. There was smuggling going on inside that resort." Hutch is shocked. Harry explains that the resort has always been a front for criminal activity. At the same time, the truth unfolds. Abel and John are shown involved in smuggling operations. Abel works directly for a mafia organization, while John, despite his respectable image, if he stays, he dies. Meanwhile, Hutch spends the day with his family. On the surface, everything seems normal. They laugh, play games, and eat together. Becca begins to enjoy herself, thinking perhaps Hutch truly wants peace. But deep inside, Hutch knows trouble is coming. He notices shadows following them, small signs that the mafia is watching. Hutch's instincts never fail him, and he feels the noose tightening. That night, Becca lies awake, staring at Hutch. She asks softly, "Can you ever really change, Hutch? Or will violence always find us?" Hutch looks away, unable to answer. He wants to be the man she needs, but he cannot escape who he is. The silence between them speaks louder than words. The next morning, Abel strikes again. This time, he doesn't just send thugs. He organizes a large-scale ambush. While Hutch and his family prepare for breakfast, armed men storm the resort grounds. Hutch reacts instantly, pulling his family into hiding. With only improvised weapons around him, Hutch takes out the attackers one by one in brutal fashion. He smashes one man with a chair, strangles another with a curtain cord, and drives a broken bottle into a third. David, despite his age, joins the fight, firing his hidden pistol at the intruders with surprising accuracy. Even Brad, inspired by his father, begins to fight, proving he is his father's son. The aftermath is bloody. Bodies are scattered across the floor, the family shaken but alive. Hutch realizes this can't go on. He tells Becca, "We have to leave now." But Becca, trembling, refuses. "We can't just keep running, Hutch. We can't keep living in fear." Hutch knows she is right. Something must be done to end this once and for all. Later, Hutch sneaks into a secret room inside the resort. There, he finds crates of weapons, drugs, and cash, the mafia's smuggling operation in full view. He takes photographs, gathering evidence. But before he can leave, Abel and his men catch him. Abel sneers, "You should have left when you had the chance." Hutch fights viciously, but Abel is no ordinary thug. Their battle is long and brutal, both men exchanging blow after blow. Hutch eventually gains the upper hand, stabbing Abel through the shoulder and leaving him screaming on the ground. Hutch doesn't kill him yet, he wants answers. Abel gasps and reveals that Landina is the one pulling the strings, and that John, the sheriff, is also part of it. Hutch finally understands the full scale of the corruption. Meanwhile, Becca tries to keep the kids safe in the cottage. But John arrives with his men, pretending to be helpful. He tells Becca that Hutch is unstable and dangerous, that he is the reason trouble keeps finding them. Becca looks into John's eyes and sees the truth: he is lying. When John tries to take Brad away for questioning, Becca pulls out a gun Hutch had hidden earlier and warns him to step back. John laughs. Looks like the wife is as dangerous as the husband. He retreats for now, but his threat lingers. Hutch returns, bloody and tired but alive. He tells Becca the truth about the resort and the mafia. Becca listens silently, finally realizing that her husband's violent life will never fully end. But instead of leaving him, she makes a choice. She will stand by him. Hutch feels a weight lift from his chest. For the first time, Becca accepts who he is. The family prepares for the inevitable war. Hutch arms David with a shotgun, teaches Brad how to handle a pistol, and even shows Sammy how to stay safe. They barricade the cottage, waiting for the storm. And the storm comes quickly. Landina, furious at the loss of his men and smuggling operations, sends an army of mercenaries to wipe Hutch and his family out completely. The night turns into a battlefield. Trucks filled with armed men storm the woods, their headlights cutting through the darkness. Explosions shake the ground as grenades and bullets rain down on the cottage. Hutch fights like a man possessed, moving through the shadows, striking enemies with brutal efficiency. David fights with the same old fire in his eyes, proving that age has not weakened him. Brad finally steps into his father's shoes, showing courage that surprises even Hutch. Becca, though afraid, proves her strength by protecting Sammy and shooting anyone who comes too close. The fight rages until dawn. Blood covers the ground, bodies lie scattered, and the woods echo with gunfire. Finally, Hutch confronts Landina himself. The two face each other inside the burning ruins of the resort. Landina mocks him, saying, "You call yourself nobody, but look at you now, you are everything standing in my way." Hutch replies coldly, "I'm not here to be somebody. I'm here to end you." Their fight is savage, brutal, and personal. Hutch finally kills Landina in a violent showdown, ending the reign of terror. With Landina dead, the mafia's grip on the resort collapses. Abel, badly wounded, disappears into the shadows, swearing revenge. John is arrested after Hutch exposes his corruption using the evidence he gathered. The authorities finally move in, but Hutch knows better than to trust them. In the final scenes, the family is seen driving away from the resort. The car is silent, everyone exhausted but alive. Becca holds Hutch's hand for the first time in years, silently telling him she accepts who he is. David, sitting in the back, hums an old tune, smiling proudly at his son. Brad looks out the window, changed forever by what he has seen. Sammy sleeps peacefully in her mother's lap. The movie ends with Hutch receiving a mysterious phone call. A calm voice on the other side says, "We have work for you, Mr. Nobody. A bigger war is coming." Hutch doesn't answer, but a small smile forms on his face. He looks at his family, then out the window, and whispers, "I'll always be ready." The screen fades to Blast CK.